A goal that was called for offside, but it's offside, so we need to go on with it. But really, not being able to manage getting past teams that park the bus, it's been a problem for quite some time, and it's a problem today. And we need to be able to do something about that, because to win things, you need to beat all sorts of teams, and that's the one thing that we're struggling to get by once again.
Well, Chelsea got another final to look forward to. The women have got one tomorrow too, but it's disappointment at Wembley today. Final score in the FA Cup final: Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. It wasn't to be for the Blues today. Leicester City are FA Cup winners thanks to a great goal, in fairness, by Yuri Tielemans. We're joined by the brilliant Carlo Cudicini. Carlo, thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, we're all a little bit deflated, naturally. How did you see the game today?
Well, I thought that perhaps Chelsea, could have done something a bit better in the first 20-25 minutes. I think Leicester was struggling to adapt and to get the grab on the game, and I think that is the moment perhaps where we could have really hurt them. After that, I think Leicester slowly got into the game. Second half, they start simply better than us. I think for a good 15-20 minutes until the goal, really, they played very well. We couldn't really get hold on the ball, keep possession, and we didn't create much. And obviously after the goal, it was only Chelsea. But it's difficult. It's a final. That finals are decided by those episodes that then they make you pay for it. And I think that has to be mentioned. The two great saves that Schmeichel made. I think there were two outstanding saves. It's a pity, really. I think that overall in the game, probably we deserve a bit more, but finals can be cruel.
They can be. Jay, I remember last season after the final, I think there was a big feel of sort of injustice, maybe the Kovacic red card, Pulisic getting that injury as well, when you think just as Chelsea things are turning. Today, it doesn't quite feel like that, does it? Just feels a bit like a missed opportunity. Just feels a bit gutting at the moment.
Feels worse. Feels worse for me today. Look, we had the lines. I thought we controlled the tempo of the game. I thought we controlled the game without hurting Leicester in the first half, and I said that at half time. And we never really troubled them, but we were probably the better side. I had nothing to show for it. Second half, Leicester showed their teeth. There was a little bit more energy about them. Look, it's a great goal. I mean, sometimes it's a when you see a ball hit the back of the net like that, top corner. it's a beautiful thing to watch, except it's against my team, and it hurts. And the game itself, if you look at the chances created, shots on target, and so on and so forth, maybe this was the game that's going to be decided by something like that. Carlo's right. The save that Schmeichel makes for Mace is that's as good as a goal. You talk about Tielemans and the wonder strike. That's right up there as good as a goal for me. And those two pieces of brilliance win the game for Leicester. I just come away feel as though that we didn't make the most of when we were in control of the tempo of the game. I think you look at some of the performances, Werner, Ziyech. I think you've got to look and say, in a big game, you're looking for big men to step up. And I look back over times where we had the likes of Frank and Didier, big men for the big occasions at Wembley. Didier rocks up every single time. And tonight and today, unfortunately, that figure, that man to be that, come on, I'll lead the way, we didn't have, I'm afraid.
It's rare that you go through a whole game and you don't have little moments where, like Carlo and Jason have both said, that Schmeichel save and then obviously the VAR decision late on, and you think it's just not our day. And it felt like that towards the end, didn't it? It felt like when every cross that was going in, it just felt like it wasn't our day, and it's gutting to come away with it feeling like that. But I suppose, you have to. You almost like Jason said, if it's not against us, the Tielemans strike you take on the chin, you guys, a wonder goal. Incredibly, he stuck it in the top corner from 25 yards. Schmeichel's saves are amazing. Leicester, they've come away with the result. I don't think it's one of those games where we've battered them, we've come away going, how have we not won that game? It just feels like one of those games where we've come away going, it wasn't our day.
Watching Leicester, they look very grown up, really mature the way they approached it tactically. Got to say, well done, Brendan Rodgers. Really quite impressed with what he did on the day. I kind of thought we should have made the changes a wee bit quicker. Certainly about 50, 55 minutes. I was thinking, no, hey, we're now falling behind here. We need to adapt this. Thomas asked himself a few questions. We put Reece James back there and put Azpilicueta in front. Right, okay, it worked defensively. Didn't work in an attacking sense because we didn't create down the right-hand side. And we have been creating constantly down the right-hand side. Now, and I know the argument back, it's a perfectly reasonable argument. Jamie Vardy's dangerous. And we stopped him because Reece did that job. And when we put Aspi back there in the last cup final, we could done a wee bit for pace points. I get the argument, but we need to be able to use our strengths. And I think maybe just after about 15 minutes, second half, switch them to Aspi. Just you go back. You're a great defender, mate. You'll cover the area. Reece, we need you up there, mate. And I wanted that to happen quicker. Then get the balls into the box. And I'm not an old-fashioned, hey, get it in the mixer kind of guy. But we are great at putting those spun balls in. Carlo will tell you, Jason will tell you, that ball that he plays between the centre-backs and the goalkeeper is horrible. It's vile to defend. And we've never got him up there. So I think we'll ask ourselves quite a lot of questions. All the right decisions were made in the end, but we didn't make them quick enough, I think. So as you said, a missed opportunity.
Zach, I'm sure we could talk about VAR all evening because it feels like we've had a couple of decisions that one way or another and a millisecond of a frame later and he might not look offside or what, we've got to go with the decision. It's offside. It's one of those, it's going to be contentious for a long time. And it felt like you knew it was coming, didn't you, for a long time as well. As soon as the box comes up and you see VAR, you think, oh, not again. Because it does feel like we've been on the end of a couple already this year.
Yeah, it was rough. It was it was tough to take, especially after Schmeichel makes that save. You think, oh, it's not going to go in. It's not going to go in, and then it finally gets over the line after an unreal ball from Thiago Silva. And you see I don't know about you guys. I'm jumping all over the room. You're seeing the players celebrate together.
Exhausted,
And then there was a slight thought. I was like, he could be offside here, and they bring out the box, and it's rough. And then for the Leicester players and the Leicester fans in the stadium, they're celebrating like they've scored another goal. It's even more crushing than having just not scored a goal in the first place. It really is. It's killer. And yeah, it's rough to take, and I'm sure the players are feeling even more down.
Carlo, have you ever been in a position where you've played someone in a final and then 48, 72 hours later, you've got to play them again in the Premier League? Because that's obviously the situation that Chelsea are in at the moment. Have you ever had that situation as a player?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, but obviously it's in a way important for us, because obviously the game on Tuesday is going to be a big one for us as well. So this is in a way the chance, the fact that football always give you a chance. After only 2 days, you have a chance to completely take the final out of your mind, and you have to play another important game against the same team. But this is what sometimes it's a game of chances. So football is give you the opportunity to start again.
If you're in the dressing room, how would you be looking as a player to respond to this game? Is it a case of just now focusing all attentions on obviously the top four for the next couple of weeks, and then you've got a Champions League final? Because I don't imagine it gives you much time to sort of grieve this result, does it? You have to get straight back on it.
The problem, Joe, is that when you lose a final, and it stays with you. Obviously, it depends on the personality of the players, but normally it's some you take it as a lost opportunity. You know what I mean? So it's always hurts a lot when you lose a final. But as we say, we have a big game on Tuesday. We have a big final at the end of the month. So that obviously is something that the players are looking for. So as I said, probably tonight, tomorrow, and then we have to go again.
Jace, what do you think is important from today then that the players and Thomas Tuchel will have learned?
Leicester are a decent side. We knew that going into it. We discussed that before the game. They're third for a reason. We've said it. I mean, I think we've all said it. Missed opportunity. We had Leicester certainly in the first 25, maybe 30 minutes. Really, they looked nervous. We had them on the back foot, but we didn't hurt them. And I think a few players tonight have played themselves out of the starting lineup against Leicester. Pat's made the point that Tuchel, the substitutions, the moves could have been made earlier. I think it was obvious that we weren't. When they scored, it felt to me that the way that the game had gone, that with what the current situation on the pitch was, it wasn't going to change. The status quo was as it was. It took a wonder strike. These things happen in football. In tight games, it can take a refereeing decision, a mistake, or a wonder strike that can change the course of a game. And tonight we saw that. Once that happens, and there's a pattern to the game, and you see the same things happen, yet we're not quite. Once we changed it, it looked. There's a little bit of urgency, a little bit of. It felt like the subs breathed a little bit of fresh impetus into us, and I think he might have learned a little bit about himself. In all honesty, Tuchel today, I think that we'll see a different lineup on Tuesday, because if today was a must-win game, let me tell you now, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? I can't remember what day it is. Tuesday, right? Okay. Well, let me tell you now, that now is bigger than what we've just seen today.
Pat, just speaking of that, because I know that you and Matt mentioned it in commentary. 7 days ago we're celebrating being on an unbeaten run, just got to a Champions League final, just beating Manchester City in the Premier League. And we had conversation before the Arsenal game midweek about looking at top two rather than looking at top four. We were looking up because Man United had dropped points the night before against Leicester, and you think, okay, maybe you get a result. Momentum is so key in football. How important is it now to nip this in the bud and get back on it Tuesday?
Well, considering we don't lose games for game after game after game, then we've got two in a row now. We need to actually manage that, and not scoring is a real concern as well. And considering how brilliant we've been against Real Madrid, that's the other thing. It's really quite confusing. Maybe I think the thing we look at now is like, we're Chelsea. We've got a lot of good players. Not going to worry about you a lot. We're going to do what we do well, and whatever we do well, it might be attacking, it might be Reece, it might be Callum, whoever it is, we need to go beyond people, and we need to put you in the back foot. And I know that sounds a wee bit naive sometimes, but there's 3 cup finals, and you got to go and try and win them. You don't actually win cup finals unless you're brave and go for it usually. So we need to be brave and go for it. And I think Thomas, like every manager, he's getting to know his players. He's only had them for half a season, for goodness sake. He's miles ahead of the curve. It's upsetting just now, but he's miles ahead of the curve. Let's get that right, okay? and he's got us in the Champions League final, and he's got us in the FA Cup final, and we're on the cusp of the last four, right? But we don't want to walk away, as we've all known. It could be could have been the greatest season in Chelsea's history, but it also could end in nothing.
Yeah, right.
We know that now, and we've got to fight. And I want us to go out in this game on Tuesday night and attack, and don't think, oh, right, what's going on there? Get your players, trust them. Whoever it is, trust them at the back. Right, go and do what we're good at. And sure, get Reece James out of the park, would you? We need him up the park. We need his creativity.
You know, two Reece James, don't you? That's what you want.
I mean, if we had 11, to be fair, as well, he's that good. If you could have 11 of him, you'd be in a good position when he's phenomenal. But yeah, I could completely agree with that. Zach, I suppose that the big thing now is, and you mentioned the story about Mason Mount and before the game when we had Carlton Cole on talking about Mason potentially, or his dad suggesting he sends around a picture of the runners-up medal from last season. I suppose the big thing now, and obviously we can't see the picture of how the players are reacting at the moment, and if the managers made them, I know a lot of managers make them sit and watch the trophy lift and stuff like that to hone that in. The fact that Chelsea have got another final in 2 weeks today, you know, maybe that raw emotion of today and feeling that defeat does spur you on and give you something extra going into that game. I mean, obviously, like Carlo's already pointed out, different players react in different ways, but that could be something to look for today. That, you know, that it's so raw, this defeat, they don't want to feel that again, as it were.
Yeah, for a lot of those players that were there last season, even the players like Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech, who watched on from the sidelines and in the final against Arsenal, this will hurt a lot more. This will hurt probably double as much, if not more. But this is where they have to take it, and they have to, you know, play like they never want to feel like this again. And as you said, they got a final in 2 weeks' time in probably the biggest competition that they can ever play in. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad way to try and make up for it, and to try and make sure they don't feel like this again. Because it's bad now. It could feel a lot worse in 2 weeks.
Carlo, I'm sorry to bring this up, but I know that you obviously lost in a cup final to Arsenal, which was before the end of the season. How did you see your teammates, and how did you react yourself in the games that followed that?
We go back to what I said before. As I said, when you lose a final, it's a big drama in a way. I think that the loss against Arsenal and today, I think, is a big opportunity to see and to taste the group. You know, it's an opportunity to see, you know, how the character, the personality of certain players in the team. Of course, we have experienced Thiago, Antonio. We have those players that can help maybe the youngest one to, take it in a different way and to transform it in a positive energy to finish the season in the top four, which now becomes very important to get to the final with the right momentum, with the right attitude and the positive energy. I think personally that true, when you lose a final and you have another one, now you know what it means to lose it. And so you go perhaps with a different attitude in a way, not different because obviously everyone started the game to win the game, but with a different mentality in a way. But at the same time, the first 15-20 minutes of the final, I think, is going to be very nervous because at the same time, what is at stake. But nevertheless, I think that, as I said, is a moment for the group to show the character and to pick up points in these two games for the top four, and then obviously all the way to the Champions League final.
Right. Well, obviously, there's still plenty more football on the way for us this season and this weekend. Highlights of today's game are available from midnight on the Fifth Stand Up. Matchday Live is back tomorrow from 6:30. It's a big one. UEFA Women's Champions League final, Chelsea versus Barcelona. And obviously, another busy week for Thomas Tuchel starts on Monday afternoon before a huge Premier League clash against Leicester City. A little bit of revenge on the cards. A massive game with real top four qualification consequences. So make sure you join us for all the build-up on Matchday Live. That is Tuesday evening. Jace, let's have a little chat about tomorrow night then, because it's a massive evening, and it's one that obviously hopefully we don't carry a hangover from today. I know it's completely unrelated in terms of, but we spoke about the mood in the camp and mood in the team. We heard from Lee, who's obviously out in Gothenburg for us. It's such a big occasion. It's such a momentous occasion, but also it's not just big for the football club, it's big for the players involved. And we've seen today, it's an opportunity to play in a final, which some players grasp and run with and other players don't. I suppose that's the biggest test, like Carlo said, mentally as well as physically in finals. So
yeah, look, we've seen here a historic moment with Leicester lifting the FA Cup for the first time in their history. Tomorrow night, we might see something again, historic Chelsea Football Club with the ladies lifting the Champions League as well. And going into that, it's difficult to kind of say how today's result will have an impact on them. I'd like to think that there will be an element of let's not feel like them. I think that that might work in our favour. I don't know. It's difficult to say, but I don't look. You just when that first whistle goes. They won't be thinking about what happened today. They're going to look to make history. They're going to be looking to win that game and on its own merit. And fingers crossed this weekend can't just be a complete washout. That's what I'm hoping. But because we've now got 4 cup finals left. Now if you got tomorrow, we've still got Leicester, we've still got Villa, and then of course the big one. So this football club's got 4 finals. Good luck to them, because we know what it's like to lift that first Champions League trophy, and we also know what it's like to as well. So I just wish them all the very best.
Absolutely, and anyone that's doing Matchday Live tomorrow as well, we know what that feels like after the game. So let's hope it's not a similar feeling as today. But Pat, it's going to be a great game of football above anything else, because there's 2 incredible footballing sides that, in their own right, you'd like to watch. The fact they're playing each other for a big old trophy makes it an even more enticing proposition, doesn't it?
Yeah, Barcelona are a brilliant team, and I've got more than half of the Spanish international team in Spanish international football. They're not winning World Cups yet for the women, but they're getting there. They are the nation of tomorrow. They are gorgeous to watch. Hansen, Martins, phenomenal players. But there's also got Oshuola. She'll come off the bench maybe, but what we've got is very, very special. And Fran Kirby, as we know, has had a brilliant season. And I look through our team. I actually still don't know what Emma's going to play decision-wise going forward, because we've got so many options. But if you've got Sam Kerr, she's had one of those seasons where she started off a wee bit like Timo Werner, getting into great positions and missing a lot of goals. Well, she's not missing them anymore, so getting in there. So there's real confidence. We're in fantastic form, our girls. But then again, so are Barcelona. It could be a classic, an absolute classic. And I've said it before, and it absolutely is the case. We're in torture at the moment, having watched the men suffer for what they've suffered. But for the future of this football club, I'm not convinced today's as important as tomorrow. I honestly don't think so. I think in the whole history of the club, when you look back in 20 odd years, I think tomorrow night might be the big game.
Very quickly on that, Carlo, because obviously we've seen how far the women's team have come in the last decade or so, and even the last couple of years. I mean, it's first Champions League final tomorrow. But from your time, obviously at the club and to now, how impressed have you been with the development of the women's football team, especially from a Chelsea perspective?
Oh, I think everyone is making a fantastic job. I mean, starting from Emma and her staff, and obviously the girls and everyone. It's just unbelievable the work that they're doing behind the scene, and now you can, not now because I mean it's been a very successful ladies team, but I'm saying success after success, they finally get to what they've been looking for a few years now. I remember Emma on the stage of a Chelsea Player of the Year, or I don't remember which event was, and she was so upset that when we lost the quarterfinal a couple of years ago, and you could see finally she's there. Everyone, the girls has done an unbelievable job so far. So we have a big momentum. We're coming from important win in the league, and so finger crossed for them. It will be a fantastic night.
Absolutely. Carlo, thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers,
thank you
Carlo.
to Carlton Cole before the game
Ciao,
as
guys.
well. Ben and Frank, obviously at Wembley. Pat, brilliant as usual. Jay, same to you. Matt Davies,
Thank you, guys. See you on Tuesday.
Mate. Wasn't our day, unfortunately. Congratulations to Leicester City. We'll go again for a trophy in a few weeks' time. Tomorrow night, it's all about Emma Hayes' side in Gothenburg. So make sure you cheer Chelsea on against Barcelona in the Women's Champions League final right here on the Fifth Stand Up. Thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.